Look at this absolute unit of a loser, Bong Joo-hyuk. 25 years old and already speedrunning a midlife crisis with 3 part-time jobs and 0 bank balance. He is living that rooftop apartment life where ramen is the only thing on the menu every single night.
Why is he living like a background character in a tragedy?
Debt, baby. He is working himself to the bone just to pay off interest, convinced he has no skills and a future as bright as a black hole. Just as he is about to choke on his noodles from self-pity, the system decides to show up. Joo-hyuk has finally awakened, but instead of a heroic fanfare, he just spits out his dinner like a total amateur. Most people see an awakening as a winning lottery ticket, but Joo-hyuk is a certified coward. He is already imagining 10,000 ways to die in the tower, from being monster snacks to getting turned into a human popsicle. This guy is so dedicated to being a simp for safety that he avoids construction sites and pretends to be on the phone to dodge any interaction. He is convinced his awakening is just a hallucination from being too broke and tired.
He finally summons the courage to call for his status window, and yep, it is real.
He is a level 1 player with a trait called Summon, which sounds cool until you realize he is still stuck in his tiny room.
Apparently, traits are the bread and butter of this world, ranging from swordsmanship to healing.
Joo-hyuk is wondering if he will get a cool golem, or a demonic beast to do his dirty work while he hides in the corner.
Common sense says skills only work inside the tower, making players just regular dudes in the real world. But our boy Joo-hyuk decides to test his random summon skill right there in his kitchen, feeling like a complete idiot for even trying. Surprise! The universe decides to break its own rules just for him. The skill actually triggers outside the tower, and something very human-shaped starts manifesting in his living room. Instead of a fire-breathing dragon, he gets a guy in an assassin outfit who immediately starts sniffing the air. This legendary summon is not interested in glory, he just wants a bite of Joo-hyuk's cheap ramen. Imagine summoning a high-tier warrior only for him to complain that mild udon is too spicy.
Joo-hyuk is staring at this one-bite moocher, and wondering if the system is just trolling him at this point.
He checks the stats and sees that his summons are tiered like a gacha game. This guy comes with 3 principles of absolute obedience, meaning he has to protect Joo-hyuk even if he does not want to. Then the lore drop hits. This is not just some random guy, it is John Cossack, the mad assassin from the Cruel Assassins Guild with a 99% success rate. A sudden rush of violent information starts flooding Joo-hyuk's brain. Joo-hyuk sees visions of Cossack in action, and this guy is a straight-up psycho. He had a lovely little habit of gift-wrapping the decapitated heads of his victims with red ribbons like he was delivering Christmas presents from hell. After seeing that Cossack only retired because he failed to kill the strongest swordmaster, Joo-hyuk is shaking in his boots. He decides to test the absolute obedience rule by making the legendary killer wash his dishes and wipe the table. He even forces the mad assassin to bark like a dog just to prove who is boss. It is a hilarious power trip until someone starts trying to kick the door down, bringing the real world crashing back in. It is the loan sharks coming for their pound of flesh. Joo-hyuk took out a massive loan for his dad's surgery and his brother's school, and now these thugs are charging him insane interest that he can never escape. Cossack senses the master is upset and casually offers to bring him the head of the bastard outside. Joo-hyuk panics and orders the assassin to hide in the bathroom and stay silent, because the last thing he needs is a murder charge. The loan shark boss is a total piece of work, suggesting Joo-hyuk sell his organs or even his younger brother to pay up. Our hero has to swallow his pride and play the coward just to survive another day. Once the thugs leave, Joo-hyuk is drained. He finds Cossack wanting to watch TV, and the terrifying assassin ends up getting emotionally invested in a dramatic soap opera while Joo-hyuk passes out from exhaustion. He wakes up the next morning to find Cossack gone since the summon limit expired. He tries to convince himself the whole night was just a fever dream and gets ready for another miserable day of work. While brushing his teeth, the news report drops a bombshell.
A local lending company called Smile Cash was turned into a slaughterhouse overnight.
3 people were found decapitated, and the signature was unmistakable. Red ribbons on the heads.
Joo-hyuk realizes that his summon did not just sit in the bathroom. He went out and did exactly what he was built for.
He did not summon a companion, he unleashed a psychopathic murderer on the city. Imagine working a dead-end convenience store shift only to see your own secret assassin making headlines for a triple homicide. Our boy Juhyuk is watching the news in absolute horror as the Smile Cash murder case confirms his worst fears. Those loan sharks didn't just disappear, they were gift-wrapped and decapitated with literal ribbons on their heads. Juhyuk is internally screaming because he knows he is totally screwed. He looks like he is about to have a heart attack right behind the counter while staring at the screen. The realization that his summon is a top-tier psycho is hitting him harder than those hospital bills he can't pay. The trauma is so real he starts hallucinating severed heads being served up on the counter.
A customer asks him to ring something up, but all Juhyuk sees is the bloody face of a loan shark staring back at him.
This is what happens when you accidentally hire a professional hitman as your personal bodyguard. It's Valentine's Day in the store, but instead of chocolate, the vibes are pure murder.
Juhyuk is losing his mind, seeing ribbons everywhere and imagining his summon asking if he is going to ring up the kill.
He lets out a massive scream that probably scared the local neighborhood kids for life. He manages to snap back to reality and apologizes to a confused customer, but the damage is done.
He realizes he can't work like this and decides to take a day off from all his jobs. Walking through the snow, he is drowning in guilt, wondering if those deaths are actually his fault since he is the one who brought that monster into this world.
He pulls up the summoner's catalog to check the stats on his problematic fave. John Cossack is an SR rank mad assassin from the Cruel Guild. This guy has a 6-hour limit and a 3-hour cooldown, which is basically plenty of time to ruin Juhyuk's life several times over. Back at his cramped apartment, Juhyuk decides he needs to talk to this psycho. He initiates a designated summon, but the system decides to act like a delivery app and asks him for a satisfaction rating before the assassin even shows up. Talk about a weird flex from the tower system. At first, Juhyuk wants to give this man a 1-star review for the unsolicited murders. I mean, who wouldn't? But then he remembers his mother used to work in customer service, and the trauma of seeing her deal with Karens makes him too soft to be a hater. He just can't bring himself to be that heartless. He settles on a 3-star rating because he is a total wimp when it comes to giving bad reviews.
He knows how much a low rating can hurt a worker's soul, even if that worker happens to be a high-ranking assassin who enjoys collecting heads like they are Pokemon cards.
The moment the rating goes through, Cossack spawns in looking like the happiest man on earth. He is literally glowing and thanking Juhyuk for the 3 stars, promising to work even harder next time.
If only Juhyuk knew that working harder meant more blood on the floor.
Juhyuk tries to play it cool and asks if Cossack was the one who handled the debt collectors.
Without missing a beat, Cossack flashes a cheerful smile and confirms he took care of them right before being unsummoned.
He says it so casually you would think he was talking about taking out the trash.
Juhyuk is officially standing in front of a murderer and his heart is racing.
He has to remind himself to stay calm because technically the system's rules mean he is the only person on the planet who is safe from this guy's blades.
Still, having a psycho roommate is not exactly on his bucket list. Cossack explains his genius plan. He planted a tracker's mark on the thugs the moment they barged into the house. To him, anyone who threatens his summoner is a target that needs to be eliminated in advance.
It's not murder. It's just proactive customer service in his twisted mind.
We get a breakdown of the 3 principles of the summoned. Rule 1 is to protect the summoner's life above all else. Rule 2 is to obey orders. But Rule 3 is the kicker. If Rule 1 and 2 conflict, protection wins every time.
Basically, Cossack can ignore orders if he thinks killing someone keeps Juhyuk safe. Juhyuk realizes this logic is absolutely psychotic.
If he ordered Cossack to kill him, the assassin would just say no. But if someone else even looks at Juhyuk funny, Cossack interprets that as a death threat. This man is a walking red flag with a very sharp knife. Our protagonist imagines a scenario where they are walking down a crowded street. If some random punk accidentally bumps into Juhyuk and talks trash, Cossack won't see a rude stranger, he will see a threat that needs to be decapitated and decorated with a bow immediately. The mental image of more ribbon-covered heads has Juhyuk sweating. He tries to force Cossack to promise not to kill based on mere suspicion, but the assassin is being super evasive. He just whistles and says he will use his best judgment, which we all know is code for "I am going to keep killing people." Juhyuk is desperate and starts begging, while Cossack eventually drops to his knees to apologize. He promises to try and keep the murder to a minimum, but he won't give a solid guarantee. It is like trying to negotiate with a shark to stop eating fish. After the awkward confrontation, Cossack brings up the big question: is Juhyuk ready to climb the tower? Juhyuk admits he is a total coward who is terrified of dying. He is not like those brave legendary summoners, he just wants to stay alive and pay his rent. Instead of mocking him, Cossack actually praises this cowardice. He claims that a summoner's greatest virtue is being obsessed with safety. A brave summoner is a dead summoner, and if the master dies, the summons are stuck in the void. So, being a simp for survival is actually the meta play. Juhyuk is feeling a bit better until his phone buzzes. It is his dad calling with some devastating news. His family's finances have completely collapsed. His mom got fired, and his dad needs to transfer to a more expensive hospital for rehab. The normal life he wanted just got deleted by reality.
With his back against the wall, Juhyuk realizes he has no choice but to enter the tower for the money.
He tries to use the random summon skill to get someone less crazy than Cossack, hoping for a legendary healer or something. But the system hits him with a massive 28-day cooldown. Stuck with the psycho assassin, Juhyuk decides to bribe him with a 5-star rating to ensure the best service. He then goes full safety mode, putting on a construction helmet and high-vis vest like he is going to a job site instead of a magical death tower. Safety first, right? Cossack is hyped and promises to be the perfect guide. He tells Juhyuk not to worry and that he won't have to lift a single finger while they are inside. He is going to handle all the dirty work while Juhyuk just stands there looking like a confused safety inspector. The teleportation sequence begins as they enter floor 1 of Korea's Black Tower.
Juhyuk is shaking in his boots, wondering if he is about to become monster food.
But there is no turning back now. The debt is high, the hospital bills are higher, and his only hope is a smiling murderer. As the light fades and they transition into the tower, the real game begins. Juhyuk is basically the ultimate escort mission character, and Cossack is the overleveled bodyguard. Let's see if this cowardly summoner can actually survive the horrors waiting for him on the first floor. The system confirms their entry and the atmosphere shifts instantly. Juhyuk is gripping his safety gear for dear life as the reality of the Black Tower hits him. It is a world of monsters and magic, and he is just a guy with a construction helmet and a very dangerous friend.
Even with the SR assassin by his side, the fear is paralyzing.
Juhyuk is hyperventilating, but Cossack is just standing there with a smug grin, ready to tear through anything that moves. This is the start of a very toxic but efficient partnership. We see the contrast between Juhyuk's pathetic state and the massive scale of the tower. He is small, weak, and broke, but he has the cheat code of the century. The question is, will he lose his humanity before he loses his life in this literal meat grinder?
Cossack reminds him one last time to just lay low and live a long life.
It sounds sweet, but coming from a guy who gift wraps heads, it is low-key terrifying. The duo steps forward into the shadows, and the first floor of the Black Tower is about to find out why you don't mess with a coward's bodyguard. The screen flashes with the floor entry notification as they leave the safety of the apartment behind. Juhyuk's journey from a convenience store clerk to a tower climber is officially underway, and honestly, the monsters should probably be the ones who are scared.
As they vanish into the portal, Juhyuk lets out one last scream of pure terror.
He didn't choose the thug life, the thug life was summoned via a gacha system. Stay tuned, because this cowardly king and a psycho assassin are about to flip the tower upside down. Juhyuk finally steps into the Black Tower's first floor, and instead of a grand entrance, he is greeted by a desolate wasteland that looks like a total dump.
It is so bad that his stomach immediately does a backflip, making him wonder if the tower is trying to kill him with just the scenery.
Our boy is out here struggling for his life, letting out a majestic rainbow of vomit because transdimensional travel is clearly not built for mortals.
His guide just stands there watching him suffer, probably wondering why he was summoned by someone with such a weak stomach.
Once he stops dying, the system decides to throw him a bone and enhances his physical abilities to match his level. Suddenly, Juhyuk feels like he could bench press a truck, experiencing that sweet main character energy for the very first time. The first mission pops up and it is a real treat, asking him to eliminate 5 tough-skinned fat maggots. These things look like oversized, disgusting sausages, and Juhyuk is already judging the tower's lack of aesthetic taste. He quickly checks a strategy guide on his phone like a true modern gamer and finds out these maggots are basically tanky sponges. They deal 0 damage, but their skin is so thick that most players waste half an hour just trying to tickle one to death.
Juhyuk looks at his own hands, realizes he is not about that manual labor life, and decides to let his summon do the dirty work.
He calls over Cossack, who looks ready to commit a felony, while Juhyuk just sits back and watches the show. One of the maggots tries to get cute and jumps at him, but Juhyuk just casually hides behind his absolute unit of an assassin. He is not even pretending to be brave at this point, essentially using Cossack as a human shield. Cossack decides he is done playing around and unleashes a blade burst that is so overkill it is almost disrespectful. In a single blinding flash, every maggot in the vicinity is turned into green goo, ending the fight before Juhyuk can even blink. The system is absolutely stunned by this level of carry and awards Juhyuk an unprecedented S++ rank for the floor. He gets a level up and a mana stone, but the real prize is a mysterious platinum badge that looks way too expensive for a first floor reward.
Juhyuk realizes the entire floor took him exactly 5 minutes, which is basically a speedrun record that should not exist.
He is out here breaking the game's balance while wearing a construction vest, and it is honestly hilarious. The tower is so impressed that it triggers a nationwide announcement, flashing Juhyuk's achievement to every player in Korea.
While high-level pros are probably losing their minds, our boy is just doing a little happy dance because he thinks he is finally going to be rich.
All across the country, top-tier players are staring at their screens in pure confusion, wondering who this random legend is.
From gym rats to office workers, everyone is getting the same notification that some mystery rookie just dominated the first floor. Back in the safety of his apartment, Juhyuk is still processing the fact that he just made a killing in 5 minutes. He is looking at his phone like it is a winning lottery ticket, realizing that his life as a struggling day laborer might finally be over. He checks the market price for his mana stone and finds out it is worth 50,000 won, which is decent, but not life-changing yet.
He starts browsing YouTube for info on his platinum badge, only to realize that literally nobody has ever seen or heard of it before.
To celebrate not dying, he orders a massive spread of jokbal, making sure to get the non-spicy version because his scary assassin is apparently a total wimp when it comes to heat. It is a weirdly wholesome dinner scene between a summoner and his stone-cold killer. Juhyuk asks why Cossack talks like he just stepped out of a Shakespeare play, and it turns out he picked up the habit from a previous summoner. He is basically a dangerous parrot, and Juhyuk decides he is not actually that scary once you feed him.
Feeling bold, Juhyuk decides to quit his soul-crushing day job to focus on climbing the tower in his spare time.
He maps out a new daily routine that involves sleeping, working at a convenience store, and then letting Cossack commit mass monster slaughter. He gives Cossack another 5-star rating, and the assassin explains that being a good boss actually pays off with better perks and upgrades.
They head straight for the 2nd floor, ready to bully some nimble fat maggots who think they are fast enough to escape the carry.
These new maggots are zipping around like they are on caffeine, but Cossack just smirks and promises to finish the job in 3 minutes tops. Juhyuk is already planning what to have for dinner, completely ignoring the fact that he is standing in a literal monster den.
Cossack blurs into motion, turning the 2nd floor mission into another one-sided massacre while Juhyuk cheers from the sidelines.
It is not even a fight at this point, it is just a professional cleaning service for tower pests. Another S++ rank and another platinum badge drop, proving that Juhyuk's luck is officially broken. He is collecting these rare items like they are common trading cards, realizing he can finish his tower runs before his morning shift even starts. The duo enters a rhythm, blitzing through the 3rd and 4th floors like they are on a sightseeing tour. Cossack is out here doing all the heavy lifting while Juhyuk just collects the loot and levels up without breaking a single sweat. After clearing the 5th floor and stacking 5 platinum badges, the system finally drops a massive bomb. Juhyuk receives a special perk that enhances his awakening trait, allowing him to summon 2 spirits at the same time and officially breaking the game forever. Imagine being so cracked at a game that the system literally gives up and hands you a second summon slot just for breathing. Our boy Juhyuk is out here checking his status window like it is a winning lottery ticket because S++ rewards are apparently the only thing he knows how to collect. While most players are struggling to survive a single floor, this absolute madman is planning to let his psycho assassin carry him to the top while he literally slacks off.
Juhyuk realizes his random summon is on a massive cooldown, so he decides to just ride the Cossack Express all the way to the 6th floor and beyond. Cut to the government suits who are absolutely losing their minds because some mystery player is speedrunning the Black Tower with perfect scores. Team leader John is trying to act cool, but manager Lee is literally prying into his mind because even the NPCs in this world are extra.
The Awakening Management Department is having a full-blown crisis over these S++ announcements that keep popping up like spam emails.
They are convinced this is the work of a single, god-tier talent, and honestly, if they saw Juhyuk in his hoodie, they would probably cry.
The director, who looks like he has not slept since the tower appeared, is terrified that foreign countries are going to kidnap their mystery star. He orders a total lockdown on new player registrations because apparently, player migration is the new national security threat. 2 days later, Juhyuk is treating the 8th floor like a Sunday stroll through a park while Cossack is doing dishes in the background like a lethal housewife. They enter the beginner zone, which Juhyuk claims is a routine chore, but we all know he is just hiding behind his summon. A pack of red thorn frog warriors shows up looking for a fight, but they clearly did not read the script because Cossack is a literal blender. The assassin obliterates the entire group in under 3 minutes, making these supposed monsters look like actual garden pests. Another day, another S++ clear, and Juhyuk is out here collecting platinum badges like they are participation trophies.
He is starting to get nervous about the difficulty spike after the 10th floor, but his biggest concern is actually how to thank his murder-happy bodyguard.
Juhyuk tries to give Cossack some pocket money for a night out, but the assassin is a total stage 5 clinger and refuses to leave his side. Instead of a wild night on the town, they end up ordering a honey cheese chicken dinner while Cossack wears a literal chicken hat like a complete weirdo.
While they feast, Juhyuk counts his hoard of mana stones and realizes he is sitting on a small fortune worth millions of won.
It is day 10 of the climb, and our resident part-timer is finally starting to dream about quitting his crappy jobs to become a full-time tower hermit. Juhyuk treats Cossack to a literal toast, forgetting for a second that this guy is a triple murderer with a blade fetish. Because Juhyuk is a simp for efficiency and keeps giving Cossack 5-star ratings, the system grants the assassin an extra hour of manifestation time.
Entering the 10th floor, Juhyuk feels a massive surge of power, and suddenly thinks he is the main character of a high-stakes action movie.
He literally starts hallucinating that he is an untamable wild horse, which is a level of delusion we usually only see in middle schoolers.
This wild horse energy lasts for about 5 seconds before Cossack has to step in and remind him that he is still the one doing all the heavy lifting.
Juhyuk tries to act tough, but deep down, he knows that if he gets so much as a scratch, Cossack might actually reset the entire timeline. Then the actual 10th floor boss shows up, and it is a giant, nightmare-inducing mantis that makes Juhyuk regret every life choice. He immediately drops the tough guy act and starts questioning how any normal human is supposed to kill a bug that big. Juhyuk decides that fighting this thing would be demeaning to his human pride, which is a fancy way of saying he is terrified.
He pulls out the pom-poms and becomes Cossack's personal cheerleader while the assassin prepares to turn that mantis into sushi.
Cossack enters God mode, moving so fast the giant bug does not even realize it is being sliced into confetti.
The 10th floor is cleared in record time, earning Juhyuk another level up and a massive pile of mana stones that would make a dragon jealous. With 10 platinum badges in his inventory, the system decides to drop a legendary perk that allows Juhyuk to copy one skill from his summon. This is the moment he finally stops being a total liability and actually gets some combat utility, though he still looks like a lost puppy. Cossack is not playing around and aggressively insists that Juhyuk learns Shadow Step, specifically so he can run away like a coward if things go south. The assassin is basically a helicopter parent at this point, making sure his summoner has the best possible escape plan.
Juhyuk acts offended that Cossack thinks he would just run away, but then he immediately learns the skill because, let us be real, he loves his own skin. He realizes that having quick feet is the key to surviving a fight, or more importantly, avoiding one entirely.
Back in the real world, Juhyuk tries to use shadow step in his tiny room and ends up faceplanting because the tower physics do not apply to his crappy apartment. Frustrated and broke, he finally makes the nerve-wracking call to the Awakening Management Department to sell his loot.
Juhyuk is sweating bullets as he gives his address to the government, realizing this is the most courageous thing he has done in 25 years.
Meanwhile, the elite team is already on their way, hoping this new lead is not another dead end in their hunt for the S++ legend. Team leader John and manager Lee pull up to Juhyuk's neighborhood, ready to shower this new player with every benefit they can offer. Juhyuk is frantically cleaning his room and hiding his mana stones, trying to look like a normal citizen instead of a tower-climbing monster. The feds finally enter the apartment, and manager Lee Mina decides to skip the pleasantries and get uncomfortably close to Juhyuk. She stares him right in the eyes and drops the bombshell, calling him out as the one behind the impossible S++ records while our boy Juhyuk looks like he is about to short-circuit. Imagine being cornered by a beautiful agent who basically calls you out for being the most cracked player in the country. Our boy Juhyuk is currently sweating bullets because Agent Lee Mina is blunt as a brick, accusing him of being the secret S++ ranker everyone is hunting for. Instead of acting like a normal human, Juhyuk decides his best defense is to turn into a literal glitching robot. He is twitching, laughing like a psychopath, and giving off the most guilty vibes in history. Even the veteran agents are looking at him like he is a few mana stones short of a full set. Time for a quick lore dump before the drama explodes. 20 years ago, these massive black towers popped up all over the world like unwanted pimples. They were indestructible, ominous, and basically told humanity to get good or get gone. The only people allowed inside are the awakened players who treat the tower like a real-life RPG. Inside, they are gods with insane abilities and shiny loot, but outside? They are just regular citizens who probably still struggle with their taxes. But here is the catch that keeps world leaders awake at night. If a tower is not cleared fast enough, a literal doomsday clock starts ticking. If you do not hit the next floor in 6 months, the whole thing collapses and takes everything nearby with it. Just look at what happened to Mumbai 3 years ago. 1 minute it is a bustling city, the next? Deleted from the map because the players were too slow. Luckily, South Korea is currently flexing with 65 floors cleared, trailing just behind the US. Back at the apartment, the agents are still grilling Juhyuk like a cheapsteak. He tries to play it cool by showing off a pile of mana stones, but then he accidentally slips up and mentions he reached the 10th floor. Big mistake, buddy. The agents immediately freeze because the 10th floor is exactly where that legendary S++ record was set.
Juhyuk is back to his robot convulsing act, trying to pretend he is just an average Joe while his survival instincts are screaming in his head.
Now we get the breakdown of the player hierarchy. You have the general team, who are basically freelance hobos doing their own thing, and the elite team, who are government-sponsored superstars with fat salaries and personal bodyguards.
You would think Juhyuk would jump at the money, right?
Wrong. The elite team has one condition that is a total deal-breaker for a secret genius: they have to wear body cameras and film every single raid. For someone trying to hide his identity, that is a one-way ticket to fame-induced hell. Juhyuk hits them with the classic "I have no talent and I am just a scared little baby" routine. He is practically begging them to believe he is a loser so he can stay in the general team and keep his secrets safe from the public eye. The agents are genuinely unimpressed. They see a guy with zero ambition and a cowardly streak a mile wide. In their eyes, the most important quality for an elite is the will to climb, and Juhyuk looks like he would trip over his own shadow. Team leader John is not entirely convinced though. He sets a subtle trap by asking Juhyuk to enter the tower right now for a verification check. Juhyuk tries to stall, claiming he is a slow climber who takes the full 2-hour limit just to clear one floor. As Juhyuk vanishes into the tower, the agents wait outside like parents at a school play. Lee Mina is convinced he is going to fail the 11th floor because it is a psychological nightmare filled with giant, hideous centipedes that would make anyone quit. Once inside, Juhyuk summons his loyal shadow, John Cossack.
But instead of an epic battle cry, Juhyuk gives him the weirdest order ever: hunt as slowly as possible. He is literally trying to sabotage his own clear time to avoid looking like a pro.
Juhyuk is smug, thinking he has outsmarted the system.
He wants a terrible record, so the agents finally leave him alone. He is ready to spend 2 hours just chilling while Cossack takes his sweet time poking bugs. But then, disaster strikes. A giant centipede lunges at Juhyuk, and his inner coward takes the wheel. He starts screaming and panicking like a total simp, and his survival instincts go into overdrive as he falls backward into a swarm of legs. Seeing his master in danger, Cossack completely forgets the go-slow order. He transforms into a whirlwind of death, shredding 100 giant centipedes in a matter of seconds.
It is a total bloodbath, and Juhyuk can only watch as his plan for a slow clear goes up in smoke.
The system rings out with an S++ rank announcement and hands Juhyuk a platinum badge for his stunning 5-minute clear. Outside, the agents check their phones and see the notification. The timing is so perfect it is practically a confession. Juhyuk steps out of the tower right as the agents look up, realizing his cover is blown sky high.
His eyes glow with a dark, terrifying aura as he realizes there is only one way to fix this mess.
It looks like these two witnesses are going to have to be silenced permanently.
Imagine being so powerful that your summon thinks the only way to protect your secret is by turning the local government agents into headless decorations.
Juhyuk is currently having a full-blown panic attack because his loyal psycho, Cossack, is 1 second away from beheading these poor suits just for breathing near his master. But surprise, surprise, the agents aren't actually here to throw him in a dungeon. They are literally on their knees, bowing and begging for forgiveness for being rude earlier. Apparently, when you score an S++ rank, the government suddenly forgets how to act normal and starts acting like total simps for your talent. Juhyuk tries to play it cool, or at least his version of cool, which involves sweating buckets and claiming that the world-shaking S++ rank was just a massive coincidence. It is the most transparent acting in history, but he is desperately trying to convince them he is just a regular guy who happened to stumble into god-tier status. The agents aren't buying his humble act and drop the mother of all contracts on the table. We are talking an ultra-elite deal with a 12 billion won annual salary, free real estate, and VVIP treatment that would make a K-pop idol jealous. They are basically offering him the keys to the kingdom just to sign the dotted line. It gets even crazier because they even throw in legal immunity. At this point, the man is basically being told he can be above the law and live like actual royalty. Most people would be doing backflips, but Juhyuk is looking at this contract like it is a death warrant for his peaceful life. Our protagonist is the ultimate final boss of introverts. To him, fame and attention are worse than a dragon's breath.
He flat out rejects the elite status because the thought of being a public hero and having people look at him is a literal burden he refuses to carry.
The agents are speechless as he chooses the basic, boring contract instead. He is terrified that if he takes the elite deal, he will be forced to conquer the upper floors forever. He just wants to make a decent living without the world watching his every move.
He signs the standard paperwork, happy to be a nobody, while the Awakening Management Department is left wondering if they just met the weirdest genius on Earth.
Back at headquarters, the chief is losing his mind.
He cannot comprehend how an S++ ranker can be this timid and lacking in ambition. He decides that Juhyuk is a unique specimen and orders his team to recruit the boy into the elite team no matter what it takes. The government has officially entered stalker mode. Juhyuk finally gets some privacy and immediately starts roasting Cossack for his violent tendencies. He gives his summon a stern lecture, warning him that if he tries to murder people or disobey orders one more time, he is getting unsummoned permanently. Cossack looks like a scolded puppy, which is hilarious given he is a literal killing machine. The duo heads into the 12th floor of the Black Tower, where they have 3 hours to turn 20 icicle spear weasels into extinct species. Juhyuk's big plan?
Clear the floor as slowly and casually as possible so the government thinks he is just average.
It is a solid plan, until the weather report turns into a frozen nightmare. The environment is so cold that Juhyuk starts turning into a human popsicle. Cossack sees his master shivering and has a complete mental breakdown, deciding that a common cold is an incurable, life-threatening disease. Forget the slow clear order, Cossack goes into full protective mama mode and starts obliterating everything in sight. It is a total massacre as Cossack zips through the weasels like a blue blur of death. He is so worried about Juhyuk catching a sniffle that he clears the entire floor in record time, triggering yet another S++ rank announcement. Juhyuk is just standing there, frozen and annoyed that his secret is being blown up again. Juhyuk is absolutely done with his summons drama. As punishment for the unauthorized speedrun, he unsummons Cossack and bans him from watching his favorite TV shows. It is peak comedy watching a legendary warrior get grounded like a toddler for failing to follow the slow and steady vibes. They breeze through the 13th floor, which is just a corridor filled with traps that Cossack handles by literally carrying Juhyuk through the chaos. Another S++ rank in the bag. At this point, Juhyuk's attempts to look weak are failing so hard it is almost impressive. The tower rewards just keep stacking up. On the 14th floor, they deal with giant eyeball bats that use sonic attacks.
Cossack doesn't even let them finish their scream before turning them into purple mist.
It is another flawless victory, and Juhyuk is starting to realize that his bank account is about to look very, very different.
When he checks his phone, he sees he has earned over 7 million won in just 2 weeks from Mana Stone sales. The math hits him like a truck. If he reaches the 20th floor, he will be pulling in 30 million won a month. He officially quits all his crappy part-time jobs because the grind is finally paying off. Suddenly, our boy gets a little greedy.
He realizes that stacking platinum badges gives him insane perks that actually make his life safer.
He stops trying to hide and decides to speedrun his way to the 15th floor. He summons Cossack back, and this time, they are both on the same page about total domination.
They encounter intelligent goblin workers who think they are sneaky, but Cossack flexes a high-level stealth skill that makes him practically invisible.
The goblins don't even have time to scream before their heads are flying.
It is a masterclass in silent assassination, and Juhyuk is watching from the shadows like a proud boss. With the 15th floor cleared, Juhyuk hits level 16 and finally collects his 15th platinum badge. The air gets heavy as a system notification pops up, announcing he has earned a brand new special perk for his collection. The local introvert is officially becoming the most dangerous man in the tower, and he is just getting started. You won't believe the luck of this local timid summoner because the system just handed him a literal cheat code for collecting 15 platinum badges. We are talking about an energy barrier kit that creates a damage-absorbing shield, and the best part is that it scales perfectly with his level. While our boy Juhyuk is geeking out over his new toy, he notices something scandalous. There is no tower-exclusive label on this item.
That means he can bring this godly defense into the real world, and he is already thinking about selling it for billions of won to retire early like a true legend.
Juhyuk tries to act tough and asks Cossack if they can breeze through the 16th floor with another perfect record, but his assassin buddy drops a reality check.
Apparently, the difficulty is about to spike harder than a red flag in a romance manhwa, making our timid hero realize he is going to need a lot more backup. Outside the tower, the entire public is losing their minds because the mystery player setting all those records has been ghosting the leaderboard for 15 days. While the haters think he finally hit a wall, Juhyuk is actually just chilling at home and planning a massive shopping spree at the official player shop.
The bureaucrats at the Awakening Management Department are basically becoming Juhyuk's biggest simps, assuming he is grinding floor 15 just to afford some gear.
Director Park is so desperate to keep his star player happy that he orders his staff to give Juhyuk a secret 90% discount on everything.
Back in the tower, Juhyuk decides he needs to test his new barrier, but he does it in the most chaotic way possible by asking Cossack to stab him. Imagine your boss asking you to commit a crime just to see if his insurance works. Cossack is absolutely horrified and refuses to harm his master. Since Cossack is too loyal to play along, Juhyuk decides to take matters into his own hands with all the grace of a newborn giraffe. He tries to stab himself to trigger the barrier, but he is so clumsy that he forgets to actually turn the shield on before the blade hits his arm.
Cossack goes into full panic mode at the sight of Juhyuk's blood, screaming like a drama queen while applying healing effects to the wound.
He gives the summoner a massive scolding for being a complete idiot, making Joo-hyuk realize that maybe he should stick to testing things safely.
To distract himself from his own stupidity, Joo-hyuk starts practicing his shadow step skill while Cossack handles the actual heavy lifting nearby. He figures that if he is going to be a coward, he might as well be the fastest coward in history so he can run away from any danger. Our boy is actually getting the hang of moving like a ninja, realizing that speed is the ultimate tool for someone who hates getting hit. He is zipping around the forest feeling like a protagonist, completely unaware that a sneaky little monster is watching him from the bushes. A stray goblin that was too scared to face Cossack decides that Joo-hyuk looks like an easy snack and launches a surprise attack. It is the classic bully finds a victim trope, but Joo-hyuk's survival instincts finally kick in as the green menace lunges at his throat. Luckily, the energy barrier activates just in time, and Joo-hyuk feels the impact without taking a single scratch. He gets so hyped that he kicks the goblin away like a professional soccer player, proving that even a timid summoner can be savage when his life is on the line. Cossack rushes over and is absolutely fuming that his master put himself in a position to get jumped by a low-level mob. He delivers another legendary lecture about staying safe, and Joo-hyuk is so tired of the nagging that he promises to be careful for the next 2 weeks of grinding. Fast forward 2 weeks, and Joo-hyuk has hoarded over 22 kilograms of mana stones, which is worth a staggering 1 billion won. He finally calls the department for his shopping trip, and they send a literal limousine to pick him up from his humble rooftop apartment like he is royalty. Team leader John greets him personally, treating him with so much respect it is actually getting uncomfortable for our introverted hero. They take him deep into the facility to register his biological info, making it clear that he is now a top-tier VIP with exclusive access to the best loot. The player's shop looks more like a 5-star hotel than a store, and the staff have already cleared out all the other players to give Joo-hyuk a private session. He checks the price tags and starts getting suspicious because everything is priced at a fraction of what it should actually cost. Joo-hyuk sees high-end items like adamant maces and basilisk leather boots for just a few million won and knows something is up.
He realizes he is getting special treatment, and while most people would love the discount, his awkward personality makes him feel like he owes them his soul.
Despite the internal cringing, he buys the gear and prepares to face the 16th floor the following day. He is officially decked out in premium armor, and his confidence is finally starting to grow now that he has the second summoning slot ready to be filled. Joo-hyuk gets desperate for a powerful ally and starts a hilarious multi-faith prayer session, calling out to every god, Buddha, and spiritual force he can name. He is basically begging the universe for a legendary pull as he prepares to activate his random summon skill in his small room. With a trembling hand, he triggers the summon, and a massive explosion of light begins to manifest right in front of him. The energy is so intense it looks like it is going to level the building, and Joo-hyuk is starting to regret doing this inside his apartment. As the smoke clears, the new entity reveals itself, and Joo-hyuk is left staring in absolute shock at the destructive force he just invited into his home.
He isn't even worried about the tower anymore. He is just crying internally because he knows his security deposit is definitely gone forever.
Our boy Joo-hyuk decides to gamble on his second summon and out pops a literal mountain of muscle.
This guy is so huge he is basically a walking tectonic plate, and the apartment is already screaming for mercy.
But wait, the plot thickens faster than a bowl of oatmeal. Cossack sees this giant and immediately chooses violence.
This is not a happy reunion, it is a grudge match, and Cossack is diving in feet first like a true hater.
Cossack is absolutely losing it, screaming about taking the big guy's head and tying a pretty ribbon on it.
Talk about a psycho-assassin aesthetic.
Joo-hyuk is just standing there wondering why his summons are trying to murder each other.
Joo-hyuk has to jump in and stop the madness because his security deposit is on the line. One broken ceiling is enough for any landlord to have a heart attack, so he begs these two idiots to chill before they're all homeless. Cossack explains that this giant is an infamous moron who probably does not even know the basic rules of being a summon.
To prove it, he makes the big guy recite the 3 principles, and watching this barbarian struggle to think is both painful and hilarious. The assassin thinks they should just kill the barbarian now to reset the cooldown, but Joo-hyuk pulls up the catalog first.
Turns out he pulled an R-rank dull barbarian meat shield. It is the lowest rank possible, and Juhyuk is feeling that gotcha salt deep in his soul. The big guy can't even remember his own name, which is a massive red flag for his IQ. Frustrated, Juhyuk tries to read the detailed description and suddenly gets sucked into the guy's memories like a low-budget VR experience. We see the barbarian back in the day, just vibing with nature and butterflies. He was a pure soul from the Great Plains who just wanted to play.
Sadly, being that pure in a world of snakes is a recipe for disaster.
His physical stats were top tier, literally wrestling giant wolves for fun, but his brain was smoother than a marble. He was so dim-witted he could not even remember his own name, making him the perfect target for a scam.
Enter the fake hero Arius, a total snake who saw our big guy and thought, "Hey, free human shield." He tricked the poor barbarian into joining his party, just to use him as disposable garbage for the upcoming boss fight.
The poor guy stood alone against an archfiend Hydra, tearing off heads while his own skin was literally dissolving from acid breath.
He thought he was protecting his comrades, but the reality was way darker than he could imagine.
While he was melting into a skeleton to save them, his comrades were standing in the back jeering and calling him an idiot. Juhyuk watches the poor guy die in agony while being mocked, and honestly, the sympathy levels are through the roof right now. Back in reality, Juhyuk decides to be a decent human being for once and welcomes the warrior.
He gives him a choice between the names Barber or Meatball, and the big guy picks Meatball with a smile.
"Welcome to the team, you adorable tank." Meatball pledges his absolute loyalty to his new master, and even Cossack stops being a hater for a second. The assassin calculates that having a reliable meat shield is actually a huge win, so the dream team is officially formed. The trio heads to the 16th floor of the Black Tower. The mission is to wipe out 30 goblin scouts in 5 hours. Juhyuk is feeling hyped, activating his energy barrier while Cossack tells him to keep his shadow step ready for any surprises. They get ambushed by 50 goblins firing poison darts from the shadows. It is a total trap, but Meatball just walks into the rain of needles like it is a spa day. He literally says the poison darts just tickle him. This man is built different.
Juhyuk is watching Meatball go full beast mode and realizes the gacha system lied to him.
Meatball is only an R rank because his brain is empty, but his combat prowess is easily SR or SSR level. He is a literal cheat code wrapped in tan skin. After a total goblin massacre, the team celebrates with a bucket of fried chicken. Meatball keeps calling it kitchen and Cossack is back to bullying him, but the bond is real. They are a disaster on paper, but in the tower, they are an absolute nightmare. Meatball is inhaling chicken like a vacuum, and Juhyuk is feeling like a proud dad. Despite the constant bickering between the assassin and the barbarian, they actually look like a real party now. Too bad the next floor is going to be even more chaotic. On the 17th floor, Juhyuk feels a surge of power from his level-ups and starts acting like a wild horse full of confidence. His summons immediately shut that down, telling him to stay in the back and let the professionals handle the heavy lifting. They face a massive army of tactical goblin warriors. The standard guide says to play it slow and stealthy, but Juhyuk is done being patient. He points a finger and gives the simplest order ever: wipe them all out.
It is time for a total bloodbath.
Welcome back to the tower where common sense goes to die, and our boy Juhyuk is just here to collect WS like they are Pokemon cards. The 17th floor drops a mission to wipe out 30 goblin warriors, but Juhyuk is way too lazy for that, so he basically tells the trash to prepare to meet their maker. Enter Meatball, the absolute unit of a summon who looks like he eats boulders for breakfast. Juhyuk points a finger and gives the order to wipe them all out, and honestly, if I were a goblin, I would just retire on the spot. Meatball does not do finesse, he does destruction. He charges in like a freight train with no brakes, and the sound of goblins getting turned into paste is basically music to Juhyuk's ears. The goblins try to use spears and formation tactics, but Meatball is a literal K2 Black Panther tank in human form. Spears just bounce off his gains while he starts turning these green pests into actual meatballs. It is a total slaughterfest. Meatball ignores every single strategy the enemies try to throw at him because when your weight class is god tier, tactics are just suggestions you can safely ignore. Juhyuk is just standing there vibing while his summon does all the heavy lifting.
He realizes that strategy only matters when you are not a walking cheat code, and watching Meatball work is like watching a tank crush a bunch of rental bikes.
Shocker of the century, he bags another S++ rank and a shiny platinum badge for the collection. Even the other summons are looking at him like he is a total monster, and the 17th floor is officially cleared in record time. No rest for the wicked as we hit the 18th floor where the mission is to hunt 30 goblin assassins. These guys love their low-level stealth skills, but Juhyuk is already plotting how to make this even faster. The assassins try to jump Meatball, but our big guy is just confused. He is swinging at air while the goblins play hide and seek, and you can practically feel the salt radiating from the side characters. Cossack is absolutely fed up with Meatball's crude style. He calls the big guy an ignorant bastard and promises to show Juhyuk what a real, classy strategy looks like. Someone is clearly jealous of the screen time.
Juhyuk realizes his summons are getting competitive, and he is totally here for it.
He baits Cossack into working harder by playing on his ego, and the assassin goes into shadow step mode, turning the battlefield into a literal light show. While the summons are busy killing each other's kill counts, Juhyuk reveals his true devious nature. He is just manipulating them to earn badges faster, laughing like a true villain while his level hits 18. Our boy decides he is done being a spectator and wants to test his own limits. He is leveling up fast and figures it is time to see if he can actually track these sneaky goblins without his bodyguards doing everything. He activates his own wild horse release and preps for combat. He has been studying the floor info like a nerd and knows these goblin assassins are actually just mid-tier trash if you can see through their cheap stealth. Juhyuk starts using the shadow step he practiced on the 15th floor, and even though he is still a bit of a klutz, he is actually keeping up. He is hunting the hunters now, and the clarity he is gaining is honestly terrifying. He almost faceplants because his balance is still trash, but he recovers just in time to smack a goblin into the afterlife. It is not pretty, but hey, a kill is a kill, and the counter is ticking up. He is checking his progress like a proud gamer, but then a goblin tries to pull a pro gamer move and sneak up behind him. Juhyuk almost gets cooked, but his energy barrier kicks in like an insurance policy he forgot he had. Suddenly, the adrenaline hits and the world goes into slow motion. Juhyuk is seeing the goblin's blade move like it is stuck in honey, giving him all the time in the world to react and deliver a fatal blow. He finishes the hunt with a bizarre sense of clarity, bagging his 18th consecutive S++ record.
While he is celebrating his new platinum badge, a global announcement starts screaming through the tower like a fire alarm.
Back at the Awakening Management Department, the suits are losing their absolute minds. They realize Juhyuk is an unstoppable force who prepared way too thoroughly, and they are desperate to keep his identity a secret.
The news of an 18-floor S++ streak is spreading like a scandal, and the media is calling him a level 19 genius who is rewriting history. Everyone in the country wants to know who this mystery player is, but the department is guarding him like he is the last slice of pizza. Later on, Cossack catches up with Juhyuk and he looks like he just watched a horror movie.
He is sighing so hard his lungs might give out, because he realizes Juhyuk's talent is developing at a speed that is basically illegal.
The veteran assassin points out that Juhyuk's shadow step was so perfect that even he would have trouble copying it. He warns the kid that finding combat fun is the fastest way to get yourself killed in this tower. Cossack is basically begging him to stick to the safety-first plan because confidence leads to bravery, and bravery leads to being a funeral statistic. Juhyuk promises to be careful, but the look in his eyes says he is already addicted to the hype. The veteran is left pulling his hair out because he knows his summoner is definitely going to cause a massive accident someday. Juhyuk is just too talented for his own good, and the tower is about to get a lot more chaotic. The management team is still debating whether to reveal him, but they know it is too dangerous. Juhyuk is their super special player, and they have to protect him from the world while he continues his insane climb. As the news continues to break the internet, Juhyuk is just focused on the next floor. He is the mysterious genius the whole world is hunting for, and he is just getting started with his record-breaking spree. Cossack's anxiety is at an all-time high as he watches Juhyuk's growth. The kid is a literal combat sponge, soaking up skills and perfecting them in minutes. It is unnatural, and it is making the veteran assassin feel like he is out of a job. Juhyuk tries to play it off like a joke, but Cossack is dead serious. The movement he showed at the end of the floor was masterclass level, and that kind of potential is a massive target on his back. The warning is clear, don't get cocky or you'll get clapped. Juhyuk nods along, but let's be real, our boy is already planning his next big move.
We end with Cossack literally crying inside because he knows his summoner is a disaster waiting to happen.
The safety first era is officially over, and the era of the accident waiting to happen has begun.